Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, Franciscus. Welcome, everyone, to our Open Talk number 26. For today's occasion, we have invited Franciscus van Bokhorst to talk more about his successful business based on ethical principles that we really need today in this world. So welcome, Franciscus, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for.
So let's start. Our first question for you today, because we all want to know more about you and what you are doing is, can you tell us more about yourself, your background, and your motivation to start a company like THIJS-Drinks?
My name is Franciscus van Bokhorst. I am in the food industry for 30 years. Basically I got the inspiration from my grandfather, who was a military chef in the army. And when I was a little boy, I was standing next to him, learning how to prepare food. And basically that's where the inspiration started. And during studies and working in Michelin star restaurants when I was younger than I'm right now, but working in those kitchens and expiring and experiencing how to handle food and how people are responding to that. And basically, as we all know, food is the medicine of the human body, and especially when the whole foods are consumed in the right way, it really benefits you. And that's my base red line through my history of working in companies, that I at a certain point decided to start my own business and to help consumers consuming basically the right food products, giving advice and starting my own brand, Fast Food. And that own brand I developed almost 20 years ago. And the inspiration was that, people need to eat fruit, but we don't like to eat fruit, especially younger kids. And I wanted to give an alternative that it is easier for them to consume fruit. Like Fast Food is a brand I developed in 2004, and one of the first products I launched in the market was apple chips. How simple does it sound? But apple chips, the apple dried in a natural way and it's crispy as normal chip without any additives. It is a really healthy snack, and I launched it in the market and it was a success because the other apple chips you found in the market, in the Dutch market at least, were not so crispy. So people thought it's for old people, but I made it a product crispy as normal chips. So everybody, especially kids, loved it because it's sweet. And little kids are sweet tooth and they don't like whole fruits. So we give them an alternative, but a healthier alternative. And that's basically where my story started, in bringing healthier fruit products to the consumer market, and supporting and consulting other startups in this area.
Amazing. So you've been in this market for 20 years. Wow.
From the beginning, I graduated in 1996, and so I'm in the food market almost 25, 26 years, and I worked for corporate environments for a couple of years. Also a juice jelly jam company like Hero. It's a big brand in Spain, I know. I worked for them in the early 2000s, and I got the inspiration. If you look at fresh juices, ultra fresh juices, we were selling juices in the Dutch market that they have a longer shelf life, and I wanted to be one of the first companies in that time with daily produced fresh juices. So I started it in 2005, which was successful, of course, because nobody was doing that. There was no ultra fresh solutions, and I also had exotic combinations like mango papaya or cocoa pineapple or apple ginger or strawberry raspberry. The combinations nobody was doing, so that was for a lot of companies very interesting that I did that. And if you make the juices ultra fresh, it has more benefits for the human body at the end.
You have all the vitamins.
Exactly, and the minerals in it.
And the minerals in it. Wow, amazing job. So can we talk more about your Thai drinks? We would love to know the story you were telling me in the backstage. Like, how
Yeah.
did you start it, and why, and what was your the story of Thai drinks is amazing. So let's share it, please.
Yeah, no, we basically THIJS-Drinks is it's a juice company that was founded in 2015, and you guessed the name THIJS is also the founder's name, and the founder is still chef in restaurants and in Utrecht, and he saw in the supermarket right next door, which is an Albert Heijn, where they throw out every day fruits. And he was looking at them and he was thinking, why on earth are they throwing it away? It's still good. Perhaps not for selling it anymore, but you can still use it for alternative options like producing juice or make marmalades out of it or use it in some kind of dishes. So he went to the Albert Heijn and he asked to the store owner, can I have those fruits? Because I have a purpose for it. And the owner said, yeah, that's okay. So he took the fruits and started making juices out of it based on freshly brewed tea. Because the name of Thijs Drinks Now was in the past Thijs Tea. Because he wanted to make something different than the ordinary juices were in the market. So he made Thijs tea based on freshly brewed tea, and he mixed fruit in it, which he got from the Albert Heijn, and start selling it in his own restaurant. And then other entrepreneurs around him said, hey, what do you have for drinks? Can I have it as well? Yeah, sure. So he started to produce more based on the offering from the Albert Heijn, which he got for free, of course, because otherwise they throw it away. Or throw it away means that they have to pay money for it, because waste disposing costs money. So the store owners save money by not paying disposing money, and he made somebody happy with it, and that somebody made a product out of it and was selling it to other store owners or restaurant owners, and it became bigger and bigger and bigger. So then there was a point: can we do it on the industrial scale? Yes, we can. So then we started to do it in the industrial scale. So we found a producer in the south of the Netherlands who could produce more volume for us, because in the beginning it was like 100 liter, and now we're producing 3,000, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, depending on the flavor. We're producing juices, and what we're doing is we're sourcing the local but also the global market, because we also have an orange juice with elderly flower, and oranges are not growing in the Netherlands, so we have to source them from Spain or Greece or that kind of countries. But we try to get the ingredients as local as possible. But that's basically how the story started, using wasted materials like fruits, which were not interesting enough to sell in the supermarket anymore, but they were still good. There was nothing wrong with it. Exactly. And that's basically that's how the story started.
Preventing food waste.
Exactly, and that's something.
To start a business.
Yeah, and preventing from food spoilage, and as I always call it, turn waste into taste, because it's no waste. We can use everything basically. Only what we need to do is to make a new product out of it, and that's basically what we're doing. And we are as THIJS-Drinks, we're a member of a community with, at the moment, 30 entrepreneurs who are doing basically the same thing. We make juices, others make jams, others make ketchups, others make collect coffee grounds and let them grow mushrooms on it and make products out of these mushrooms. I also supported that company for a couple of years to make it more scalable and interesting for the market. And yeah, what we do is we create a circular economy, and that's very interesting.
Okay, so you are still sourcing from the wasted food.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yes.
it's and that's something that never stops. Look at the world market. We're still throwing away 35 to
1/3.
40%.
Mm.
Yeah, and in some cases in the US, it's even more. It's up to 40%, and it's a shame that we as humanity are not able to consume the foods we're producing. And if you look at the topics of CO2 problem we have globally, one of the problems is food waste or overproduction of food, and that we should be ashamed of ourselves that we are not able to manage this in a proper way.
So let's use this open talk to inspire people. So the
Yeah,
kind of
and
ethical companies grow like mushrooms.
yeah, and if you look at my profits of at my four P's, a lot of people think, oh, that's the marketing piece. No, it's the people, planet, profit, prophecy, and a lot of people understand people, planet, profit, but a lot of the majority of people don't understand the prophecy. You have to have a vision for the future, what's coming, and how to solve the problems. Basically, that's what I'm trying to tell with the prophecy. And profit, I need profit to fulfill the prophecy, to develop new initiatives, to change food systems, basically. Because if you look at the situation we're in right now, globally, we have a lot of problems, and we need to adjust the food system one way or the other. It's if you look at animal protein consumption, we need to it needs to be less. I don't say we all need to be vegan, but we need to be coming back into balance. That we are able feed the world in the normal way, what we need as human beings. And yeah, you can discuss about should we be vegan or vegetarian or whatever. That's another discussion, but it needs to be back in balance. And the way we're doing it right now is not okay.
Yeah, that's why there are so many, like every time more projects and startups doing like ethical business. Really, I
Yeah,
think I make
absolutely.
probiotics. You prevent food spoilage
Yeah,
by making incredible drinks, and every time there are more projects, to talk about and be
yeah,
proud and be proud. So my
yeah.
question here was, what do you think is the future of our market, like food and beverage market, especially these healthy drinks? Because we are both in the same market. So what do you think is the future? As somebody
The-
who's been in this sector for so long.
Yeah, for me, the future is functional. We're gonna what you're doing with your fermented products. I think that's absolutely the future. I think like I said before we started the interview, is that I'm convinced, and I'm not alone. A lot of scientists say the same thing: is that food is the medicine of the human body, and if you put garbage in, you get sick. It's quite simple. And that's what you see globally with all the processed foods and too highly sugary products that a lot of people are getting problems, health problems. And so we have to go back to the basis of our way we should eat or consume food and drinks. So if you look at the food at the beverage area, I'm convinced that we are gonna produce in the future drinks which are beneficiary for your body. uh, if you look at, for example, the cannabis plant, I know it's forbidden in a lot of countries in the world, but if you look at the health benefits which the plant produces, it could be put into waters, in juices, and then it benefits the human body. Not the smoking, but it's the consumption of the
Yeah,
essentials of the plant. And that's something I think we're going to move into that direction, because nature provides everything we need as a human body, for our human body.
yeah, and every time we discover more species, like plant species that are actually highly medicinal, so we have every time more pharmaceutical supplements that are based on newly discovered species.
Yeah, exactly. And so the future lays ahead of us, especially with those solutions, and the solutions are there. The only thing we need to do is to come into action, and that's what's the beauty of the time we're living in right now. You get more and more startups which believe that they need to change something, and they create more healthier alternatives than they're in the market right now. And that's, if you look at the beverage sector, there's a lot of improvement to be made.
Yeah, and there are a lot of investments really, and from what I can see, and opportunities for startups and industry. So it's like it's emotional, like
Absolutely.
to have a company or being in a business in this moment. So
yeah, absolutely. But if I look at my first business and the opportunities I had back then, and if I look at the situation where a lot of startups are in right now, it's now easier for startups to enter the market, or to get funding, or get help, professional help, because 20 years ago, if you were a startup, there were not a lot of other startups around you, because why should you start a startup? You can work for a big corporation. And nowadays a lot of young people think they see what's going on in the market, and they think we need to change it. It needs to be different, and that's the beauty of right now. Here in Amsterdam, we have a lot of food hubs, prep kitchens, where a lot of startups are around, and some of them are very successful. Some of them, it's just a hobby, but okay, that's it. But at least people try it, and that's what I like, and I can help and support young entrepreneurs, because I experience all the steps from idea till in the mouth of the consumer. Because preparing something or making a beautiful product doesn't mean it's going to be successfully sold in the market. It's a different ballgame, and you need to know what the dynamics are, and how the dynamics operate in food service, and how the dynamics of operating in food retail, and how it's working in another country. Because that's what's one of the questions. Do you also want to export? Yes, of course, but I only start thinking of exporting my product if, first it needs to be a success in my own country. If it's not 100% successful, and we still need to adjust on assortment or ideas or packaging, you shouldn't export. You should wait.
Well, that was actually my next questions. So now that you are expanding to new markets, are you changing flavors? Do you think the flavors should be adapted to regional taste?
Yeah, of course. The flavor style in the Netherlands is different than in Spain or Italy or in Turkey. So you cannot sell something which is successful here. You cannot sell everywhere else. It's not possible. Same with packaging. The package here in the Netherlands could be okay, but it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect or successful in other countries. We're still figuring out what packaging we need for different channels. What's the need of the channel, because that's also changing. Recently, if I look at it's called it's changed for the cans and the PET packaging, that you have to pay a fund of each packaging you buy, so you have to bring it back. And before that, you can just throw it away, but that's not possible anymore. So that's changing as well. So that creates again another dynamic for a special segment of the market, and it's very difficult. It's not that easy that you produce something and just sell it. That was perhaps a couple of years ago, 20, 25 years ago, but that's not the case anymore. There's so much competition going on.
No, it's not really easy to be sustainable. It's really not.
No.
And regenerative even less. Sustaining is one thing, but to really regenerate and then give back to the society, and it is really not easy having to balance both things.
Yeah, exactly. And one of our fundamentals is fighting food waste. So we call ourselves food warriors. Mm-hmm. But another thing is, last year we did a true price calculation on our product, and true price, I don't know if you're familiar with the idea, but true price is that we pay the real cost of the consuming of the product. So the social and environmental costs.
Recycling, everything, yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. Also labor cost for our child labor, because there's still countries where child labor is there. We know it, but that's not in the price. Or water problems, or air pollution, or whatever. It's not in the price, and that's the whole point. We did this calculation for our product, and yeah,
And
it's in our price, and we were the first drink in the world who was doing this. It got national publicity, especially one of the elements was child labor, because our ginger, one of our flavors, we use ginger, and the ginger comes from China. And we know, at least the institute with who we work, they said, yeah, but for ginger, it could be the case. It doesn't say that it is the case, but it could be the case that there's child labor in this product. So there needs to be an additional cost for a child labor. And that was an interesting discussion. And basically, a lot of people know it, but they don't talk about it. And we just addressed it, and we start talking about this element.
The same goes for electrical devices, mobile phones, and like so many things we touch every day. Ethical standards are like vapors thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We all say, we implement, we are very ethical, but then again, when you do this kind of real pricing, you see the truth.
Yeah, exactly. And I always say we have the discussion about the eating less animal proteins. Just fix the price, and then the animal protein consumption will go down, because a 1 kilo of ground beef is still cheaper here in the Netherlands than 1 kilo of oyster mushrooms, and that's very strange.
And unnecessary. It's surreal.
Just
base.
Yeah, pay the real price, so the farmer gets a real price, and then the environment will adjust at the end itself, because we're going to consume less meat. And just post-war in 1950, we didn't eat every day meat, and now we're eating every day.
But we
Sorry?
ferment it. We ferment it. It has something to do. Before we ate more fermented food and less meat. So maybe we are going back to what was normal and more healthy before.
Exactly.
So here we come to the end of our conversation. Thank you so much for teaching us and sharing with us your experience, such a vast experience that you have.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was so nice to interview you and to meet you. Thank you, everyone who is following us. We will publish this interview tomorrow online, so we can share it all and see it again. And thank you, Franciscus, once more, and lovely evening to everyone. Goodbye.